Thank you, Council President, and welcome. If this was ever a time to do an Indigenous land acknowledgement about who we are as Indigenous people, it would be now, so thank you. I want to start, I hope my colleagues have had an opportunity, and I know the Snoqualmie Nation has, the proclamation that was written by the family, but before I go into my written script, I just want to say a few personal things about Andy before we begin. The proclamation, which is 2 pages, can never, ever capture all the great things that Andy did. Besides working for federal recognition for his tribe, we yours truly had an opportunity to work on that. Besides making sure that he protected the Snoqualmie Falls. And I was with Andrew for 3 takeovers, including Cascadia, where the Puyallup Tribal Casino now sits. Andy was involved in the fish wars in the 70s, and he was there when we took over Fort Lawton. He was a mentor of mine and a dear friend. Andy was cannot tell you what he did in Indian country for Indian child welfare, working with Ramona Bennett, Vernon Joe, Roxanne Finney, and yours truly again when I was in law school. A lot of people don't know this about Andy, and it's in the proclamation, but it's kind of buried way at the bottom. He was one of our very first Native American journalists and started Northwest Indian News with Ella Aquino, Auntie Julie Johnson, Tilly Kavanaugh, Jerry Hamley, and of course Bernie Whitebear and what we call the Gang of Four. Andy was certainly a force, and he was a dear friend of mine. I am now going to read the proclamation, not the whole proclamation, but just the excerpt, and give the opportunity to the leadership and the family to speak on behalf of this amazing man. This proclamation was written by Chief Andy's family and members of the Snoqualmie tribe. Thank you for your beautiful tribute so that we can honor him through your words directly. Chief Andy was born on February 15th, so we will dedicate every year of the day, February 15, to be Chief Andy Day. I will close by reading an excerpt from this proclamation. Whereas Chief Andres Andy Juan de Los Angeles, former chairman of the Snoqualmie tribe and nationally beloved Indigenous civil rights leader, passed on January 21st, 2021. Whereas known affectionately as Chief Andy, he was a compassionate and tireless activist who dedicated over a half a century of his life to fighting for the rights of all tribal nations, safeguarding their culture and history, and protecting the sacred. And whereas, due to his advocacy and civic leadership, his contributions will long outlive this generation, and Chief Andy's kind and unwavering voice for truth and justice will always live on as an inspiration and call to action. And now, therefore, the mayor and the City of Seattle City Council proclaim February 15, 2021, and every year henceforth on that day, February 15th, to be Chief Andy Day. With that, Councilmember or Council President, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Juarez, for reading that into the record and for your introductory remarks. Are there any additional comments from any of the other council members?
Oh, Council President, I'm sorry, I made a mistake.
Okay.
I just realized on my script, I apologize, I was going to switch it up, but I wanted to make sure that I stated the guests, and I believe Bob de Los Angeles, if I miss anybody, he will follow up with those names. These were the names that were given to me by tribal leadership. The honored guests and family are Bob de Los Angeles, Chief Andy's brother and council chairman, Steve de Los Angeles, council vice chair, Gabe de Los Angeles, Chief Andy's son, Doug de Los Angeles, Chief Andy's son as well, Jinder de Los Angeles, his daughter, and Sabqua de Los Angeles, his youngest daughter. Also, I would like to recognize current and former members of the Snoqualmie Tribal Council, Pat Barker, Suzanne Salido, who's also with us, Jolene Williams, I see is with us, Marlene May, Shauna Ship Martinez, Canaan Ventura, Chris Castleberry, Bill Sweet, Melinda Dirge, I hope I said that right, Digri, someone will correct me, I'm sure, Wes Willoughby, and Michael Ross. And with that, if I missed anything, I'm sure Bob will correct me. Thank you, Council President.
Of course, not a problem. Okay, are there any comments from any of the other city council members? I'm not seeing any hands raised, so I'm going to move to suspend the rules. If there is no objection, the council rules will be suspended to allow Chairman Bob de Los Angeles to accept the proclamation and provide remarks. Hearing no objection, the council rules are now suspended. Chairman, welcome so much to the City Council meeting. We're very pleased to have you here as our honored guest. You are recognized in order to provide remarks to the City Council and the viewing public. Take it away.
The Seattle City Council for having us here today. Hello, my name is Robert de Los Angeles, and I'm the chairman of the Snoqualmie Indian Tribe. We have Chief Andy's siblings, Gabe de Los Angeles, Doug de Los Angeles, Ginger de Los Angeles, and Sebequa de Los Angeles, and also the Tribal Council, Steve de Los Angeles, Vice Chairman, Treasurer Shauna Ship Martinez, Secretary Melinda DeBree, Deputy Secretary Chris Castleberry, Councilmember Dan Willoughby, Councilmember Marilyn Mai, Councilmember Bill Sweet, Councilmember Suzanne Celto, Councilmember Jolene Williams, and our Chief Nathan Pat Barker. Thank you again. This proclamation for Chief Andy Day in the city of Seattle is a huge honor to him, his family, and the tribe. My brother gave his life to ensuring that the Snoqualmie Indian Tribe could receive recognition for sovereignty for the federal government. He also spent many years protecting historical and cultural sites. He recognized that Seattle is the part of our ancestral history, and he never gave up in telling that story. I know that having a day in his name would make him so proud. He loved Seattle and all the memories he built working in our and around the city. He often did this work without recognition or a thank you. And so this proclamation is a fitting acknowledgement of that work. I accept this proclamation on behalf of his family and the Snoqualmie Indian Tribe. We sincerely look forward to celebrating and sharing Chief Andy Day with our family, his friends, and the tribe. Thank you again for your time.
Hands up.
Thank you so much, Chairman, and all of the members of the council who are with us today, and all the family members. We really appreciate being able to share this space with you. I do want to hand it back over to Councilmember Juarez for any closing remarks.
Thank you, Council President, and thank you, Bob de Los Angeles and family. I am just going to end on a personal note. Those of you who look and watch Seattle City Council notice that I have a blanket on my chair, which is customary in Indian country. And the blanket that's on my chair is a gift from Chief Andy de Los Angeles. Every time a new blanket came out, I got a blanket, and that's what sits on my chair in Seattle City Council. And as you all know, that gift is basically, what I'm saying is that I honor the Indigenous people that were here. We understand why we do an Indigenous acknowledgement. It's not a checklist. It's not everyone's Indigenous passport to say everything's okay, because if it was, they'd have to give back Elliott Bay. But what it is a recognition that we are a guest on your land, and we thank you. And I'm gonna get a little emotional because, like I said, I knew Andy since I was probably about 12 or 13, and he was my baseball coach as well. And I think he would be smiling and so happy and so proud that this great city with this great nation are celebrating and honoring him today. So thank you. Thank you. My hand's up. Thank you, Council President and colleagues.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Juarez, for giving us an opportunity to consider the proclamation and for signing it unanimously this morning. So thank you to all our guests for being with us. We really appreciate you being here once again. And
can I add one last thing? Marilyn Mai. I've been a social worker in child welfare in Muckleshoot and with our tribe and public sector for 30 years and worked with Andy. And I think that's a part of Andy's work that sometimes gets overshadowed by a lot of this other great stuff that he did. But Andy protected Indian children for many, many, many years. And that was a great part of his work and something that met meant a lot, meant everything to him was he worked diligently and hard to protect to protect children and make sure that they were safe.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Okay, folks, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. We're going to go ahead and move into the next item of business on our agenda. I really do appreciate your all's presence today and look forward to seeing you again soon. I hope you all stay safe.
Bye, sisters. Bye, brothers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care of yourselves.
Thank you.